Hello, everyone. I am Sally Watts, the Program and Membership Services Director for the Parkinson's Place Center. And I am excited today to have Jan Hamill Solomon here with me, and she's going to share her amazing story. She's a lifelong resident here in Sarasota. Her family's been here since 1960, and so she's going to share with us her mission, and her mother has also been touched by Parkinson's disease, so we are going to learn about her journey as well. Welcome, Jan. We are thrilled to have you here. Could you please share a little bit about yourself and what your mission has been here in Sarasota?
Absolutely, Sally. First of all, it's an honor to be with you, and especially to help all those affected by Parkinson's. We have been through that, and it's kind of a dream come true to be able to give back in this way. So thank you again so much for calling us.
My pleasure.
So what would you like to know? How we got here and my mom's journey?
Yes, I would like to, first of all, know a little bit about you and your family. Your father, J.D. Hamill, has been honored with the Key to the City.
Yes.
And I'd like to know a little bit about that.
Yes, it is true that people in this town associate our family more with my father. My father was Chaplain Reverend Dr. J.D. Bud Hamill, chaplain volunteer 1960 to 97 to actually city police, wow, Sarasota County Sheriff, State of Florida Fire Department, veterans, and hospital, while pastoring a church and doing work internationally in radio. And actually, Fruitville Road, we were stunned, was closed for miles for the funeral procession of a man of God. Wow. Not rich, not famous, not a politician.
Wow.
So we learned very young to work together, and that, I think, has impacted our family to help children all over the world. And it's part of that legacy that we hope people will be able to pass on to their families, because you want the stories of those affected by Parkinson's.
Right.
And one of those is my mom.
Yes. And
yes, Jean Hamill was a symphony violinist from South Bend, Indiana, and she met actually my father at the university in seminary along with her friend, and those two girls met my father and my father-in-law right after World War II. Wow. And they just wanted to change the world, and my husband's parents at a very young age went off all over the world, and my parents moved to a sleepy town called Sarasota. My mother was enthralled because they had a symphony. And immediately with Paul Wolf, she was in the Florida West Coast Symphony. I followed suit on flute. But before there was a Van Wezel, there were no purple cows in town. We had a symphony hall and conductor Paul Wolf. And here, the electives included things like sailing, right, things like circus, things like symphony. And so at a very young age, you had all these cultural choices. My mother loved that. Oh. There would have been no Bud Hamill without Jean Hamill. And many people throughout the years have honored my father, Key to the City, the park, Chaplain Hamill Park, across from Marina Jack at the end of Main Street. You and I talked recently about the prayers at the parades.
Yes.
Our family has done those since 1960.
Wow.
I started at probably about age 2 in my father's arms. Some people remember Hurricane Donna, 1960. And I remember duct tape on the windows, on the jalousie windows. And my mother in pearls, just like yours, saying, "Well, children, we will have a hurricane tea party." Can you imagine?
No, I cannot.
And then her husband runs off in a fire truck to help everyone. What was she thinking?
Yes.
She must have been thinking, oh my goodness, I miss Indiana. The Midwest is so nice this time of year.
Right.
And then to top it off, there was no emergency communication system in Sarasota County in those early days. In the early days, many of those emergency calls rang to our home, including suicide prevention. And she fielded those calls.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Oh, my gosh.
There was no cell phone. There were no computers.
Right.
Can you imagine?
No, and she's raising children
She's
at
raising
the same
children.
time. And
I didn't really learn how to cook because I was running off with my father, stopping war and poverty. So we would go to the hospital and visit the sick right after school, and all my friends wanted to go because we could sit with the candy stripers.
Oh,
Those teenage volunteers.
yes, I remember.
Yes, yes.
They were amazing back then.
It
right?
was just an amazing, childhood where we learned to help others.
Okay.
And so in that world, my mother was a symphony violinist, and in fact, I can show you the picture.
Sure. She's a beautiful lady. I see where you get her beauty. And
Charming and very down to earth at the same time,
Sure.
that classy culture. So it didn't matter if there was a politician or a homeless person coming to dinner. When people came from overseas doing Christian relief work, the table was set and the hair had to be done, and I thought, who are these people? So I married one. But yes, the first memory, Hurricane Donna, 1960, and she's writing her parents, telling all about it. I just can't even imagine.
No, I can't either, really.
That
Just
is
moving
what
here,
Sarasota
right.
looks like, and we've been through it. We've had Ian
Right.
and Debbie and Milton and Helene, and yes, the list goes on and on. But later, after we were married even, we found pictures of us together at the university where my husband sits on the board of trustees now, and we were there as children. So can you imagine moving here to the middle of nowhere as Sarasota was?
No, I can't
Yes.
really at that.
So she helped with church youth group, directed the choir, was the church secretary, fielded the calls, took care of us as children. We felt our childhood was safe and idyllic, even though he was the town chaplain,
Right.
essentially crisis manager.
Right.
It was wonderful. And then his parents came to visit my parents every once in a while. Can you imagine? That's Tim and that's me in 1962, and that's the Sarasota Herald Tribune.
Oh my! And you were high school sweethearts,
Well, that's
right?
because I imported him for high school.
Oh.
He was living in a country that had some issues at the time.
Okay.
And so he could go to a different country and live for high school, but we already liked each other. So that's why all four of their siblings ended up at Sarasota High School and married actually by my father and my father-in-law. Why does this story matter to your audience? Tell the stories. Save the stories. Share the stories. When my mother first had Parkinson's, she said, there's going to be a time, Janet, when I won't remember who you are. And people didn't know. There wasn't this research, this amazing Parkinson's Place. And we were living all over the world at the time, already married, and had our own children. And I said, what are you talking about? And she started writing in the scrapbooks our names. And she would type and then scotch tape to photos
Right.
at some point. She was an amazing typist.
Yes.
And my brother and sister and I, as we started having children, she would write the names of the children, their birthdays, so that she would remember. And we want you to remember that your family members are still those people inside, even though they can't communicate it anymore on the outside. One time my father came to visit her. They decided to have a room where he could go to and stay and visit. And then when he had cancer, he did.
Oh.
She didn't really remember much what was going on when he
Oh.
was sick. But one time he came in and he said, do you remember me, Jean? And she said, oh, yes, you're the pastor. And he thought, oh, dear, I'm your pastor, sweetie. And that was such a hard time.
Oh, I'm sure. Just, for her not to really know that that was her husband.
Absolutely, at that moment. And
Right.
it would come and go. So if it does for you, that's okay. It seems she always remembered my husband.
Oh.
And yet I was not Janet. Now I'm known as Jan Hamill Solomon. I was Janet, little Buggy. she didn't remember me because I wasn't the little girl in her mind
Right.
at that point.
Right.
And so, yes.
So your mother had memory issues associated
Yes,
with
she
her.
did.
Not everybody does. But
correct.
what were some of the other symptoms that your mother displayed?
Oh, yes, Holly, thank you for asking. The first thing was the trembling of the hands. She was a violinist, amazing on a typewriter. There were not computers, children back then, and she would type up the church bulletin. She would have a brain that would get everyone to everywhere on time. She was Google before Google existed. And so when she could no longer do those things and her hands started to tremble, they didn't really know a lot about that in
Right.
the 80s.
Right.
So, yes.
Yes, that was before all the research and everything took place
Exactly.
that we have today. So,
And we thank you for that.
Yes, and Parkinson's disease is very difficult to diagnose because
Even
it does
still.
mimic a lot of other diseaes, because sometimes the tremble might not be related
Right.
to...
Mine is too much cell phone use booking our sailing charters.
Right. And small handwriting is one of the signs and symptoms, so it's interesting that she took to typing maybe because her handwriting had gotten so small.
Well,
Is
plus
that-
she was really good on the typewriter. I wish I had her now. You were asking how that childhood affected who we became, both my
Right.
husband and myself. We kind of have the story where the little girl from the beach runs off with the childhood sweetheart, my
Right.
husband Tim, to
Yes.
change the world, and then oops, the world changed us and followed us home. And now we changed the world from home, and we have the key sailing charters right across the street from Chaplain Hamill Park
Right.
with the key to the city. And just the way my mom would make everyone feel at home at her kitchen table when they come on the sailboat, I learned that. Welcome to the Key Breeze. Welcome to Sarasota.
Sarasota.
Here's a photo of you with the key to the city. And
Oh.
I learned that from Mom.
Yeah, so she's had quite an impact, both your parents,
Yes.
on
Yes.
who you are today. And
Yes, my brother,
you-
my sister, the kids.
And you honor that. I can feel that from you, that you honor your heritage and your parents and what they have brought and given to
Exactly.
you in your life.
Exactly.
It's so important for the children of families to recognize that. Janet, what has helped your mother to find joy and comfort?
Absolutely. Mom used to say, share your faith with your children and your children's children. And she was able to do that. So remember to pass that faith on to your children. I never heard my parents argue. They went into their room and talked sometimes.
Right.
I never heard them say anything bad about anybody, in or out of the church. You know, whether
Wow.
someone was homeless or, as I mentioned before, a politician or whoever, every single person was treated with respect. And if they had a debate with someone, it was over issues.
Right.
And I found that Sarasota's that way. People can disagree and have coffee together. Until I went to the rest of the world, I didn't see how people tend to spear each other without spears.
Oh,
So that's what Mom lived, that she could share with us, that we could share with our children, that you need to share with your children. Now, I was looking at this before with you,
Oh, right.
and you had fun with it.
Yes.
So they met in seminary, and can you picture these two guys coming home from World War II and these professors' daughters going, oh, the world's not going to end, and look at the cute boys. Coming home.
That's a beautiful, beautiful thought.
We were so affected by this that not only did both fathers perform our ceremony in 1977, but I wore my mother-in-law's wedding dress.
Well, that's amazing.
Those satin ones.
Wow, that's a beautiful photo. What a beautiful dress.
Again, kids,
Yes.
look at the stuff that your parents and grandparents have. You might have something really amazing in a closet or a drawer. Look for it all. Look for that heritage. Pass that story along.
on. Everyone has a story, and it's
Yes.
important to share that.
Yes.
Exactly. And so, if your mother were here today, what would you say to her?
Exactly what you just said. Share your faith, share your story, tell others, pass it along, give your best, speak kindly to others. Basically, those 10 things in the Bible that we
Yes.
forget about.
Love and kindness, right? And if there was a message that you would like to share with other families that are going through the trials and tribulations of Parkinson's disease.
Yes,
What
actually,
would you-
Sally, I do have one that we share on the boat. I tell it to the bachelorette parties or the wedding proposals or the birthday parties. Every story worth sharing has a scary chapter. You wouldn't watch the movie if the script was all peaches and cream.
Right.
So when you're going through this tough chapter of your life, whether it's Parkinson's or whatever you've been through, and we tell the young kids on the boat, whatever you're going to go through. I have something that I kind of got from Mom. Pretend you're already in heaven with God and popcorn.
Oh, popcorn.
And you're looking down and you're saying, I do not like this part of the story. And God says, the story's not over. The stories rarely finish where they start. So there might even be a healing in your family. There might be some grace during the journey. Your grandchildren may spend more time with Grandpa than they would have if this hadn't happened. Look for the pearl.
Okay. What a beautiful inspiration. Thank you for sharing that, Jan. And in reading your reviews for Key Sailing, you and your husband have given a beautiful trip for 6 people for
Yes.
a 2-hour cruise here in Sarasota. And
Yes.
I'm sure whoever is fortunate enough to win that Raise Your Paddle auction item will have an amazing time.
The idea is this is your chance for some fresh air, fine chocolates, and a few hours of peace on earth. It's not a rocky ride. You'll stay in the bay unless you want to go out in the Gulf, and it's just a really fun time to relax, turn off the motor, and as I like to say to the guests, listen to the sound of Jan not talking.
Well, Jan, you've been a pleasure, and we're excited for our upcoming fundraiser. Thank you, Jan.
Thank you. God bless.
God bless you, too.